Hi, this is Catherine McNulty, and I am here with Grief Inspired. And today's conversation is going to be maybe a bit challenging to hear, a bit challenging to listen to. It may get mixed reactions, but what I want to encourage you to do today is to lean in. To lean in, give it some thought before you make any rash judgments, and just see what you come up with. So, as you all know, my loss of my son, Jackson Robert, there he is, was, well, just about 10 years ago. It was 2011. And I've spent all of this time looking into grief, learning about my own grief, diving into the process, talking with other people, supporting other mothers who have lost children, speaking on the topic. I've written a book. I'm working on my second one. I've really been diving in and I've been looking at all of it. And the reason why I created Grief Inspired, because I believe that your grief and what you're going through and all of the pain and all of the struggle can actually be a positive for you. And I don't mean it in a way to undermine what you're going through or the person or persons that you've lost. The pain of grief is universal, and we're all going to lose people that we love. But what Grief Inspired is about is saying, now what? Recognizing that you can't change the past, acknowledging that people do die. Maybe it's too soon. Jackson died far too soon, and I would have wanted him to grow up to be the 10-year-old that he would be today, or almost 10. But that's not my reality. And I can imagine what he would be like, and sometimes I enjoy doing that. And sometimes it makes me sad to know that, his little brother Mason is here with us now, but they're never going to get to have the type of relationship that brothers should really have. And I am not going to have the type of relationship with him that a mother has with her living son. The person that you've lost, and we call it loss because it is loss. It's a loss of your future with that person, or the future that you thought you were going to have. And that's what makes it so difficult. We feel robbed. We feel like, I should have this. I should be with my son. He should be here with me. You should be with your loved one, your son, your daughter, your spouse, your parent. They should be here with you. That's what you want. That's what we would all want. But that is not our reality. And so, being new to grief, you can't look at anything other than the grief. You look at the loss and you think you're just so focused on the pain that you can't see anything else. But what I want Grief Inspired to do for you is to let you know that no matter where you are in the journey of grief, in the journey of this life that we all experience and sometimes have to endure, no matter where you are in the struggle, I created Grief Inspired so that you would know that there can be inspiration from grief. that you can take the struggle, you can own it, you can take responsibility for it, and you can say, this sucks. I always say grieving sucks because it does. It's a pain that people who aren't going through it or haven't gone through it cannot fully comprehend. We can try our best. But I can't comprehend everything about your grief, and you can't comprehend everything about mine. But the struggle is real, as they say. And here's what can happen. You can let that struggle give you healing. That if you can embrace the struggle, you can start to heal. And what does embracing the struggle mean? Embracing the struggle means not pushing it aside, not moving away from your grief, but looking at it and doing the hard work. And it is hard work. There is no denying it. I did the work. I know how hard it is. I work with people every day, every week, and every month. And I feel how hard it is. But there's satisfaction in the work. And if you do the work, things will start to unfold. And things will open up. You'll start to understand more about yourself. You'll understand what's important in this world to you. And you'll understand what it is that you actually really want, this life of yours, the one life that we have. What do you want to be the mark in this world from your life when you're the one that's gone? And that's no joke. And I'll tell you what, there are not a lot of people who are willing to do this work, to look within and to unravel all of the emotions and the feelings and the things you wish you had done and the regrets and the blame and the shame. But here's the thing. The happiness and the joy begins to unfold when you start to acknowledge it, when you start to learn about it, when you start to love yourself a little bit more, when you give yourself a break and say, you know what, I'm not perfect in these areas. And I'll tell you flat out, these are the areas where I do really well. These are the areas that I don't do well. Here are my values. This is what I'm working toward. This is what I want to achieve. This is the mark I want to leave on the world. What can you create? How can you use your grief to become inspired? Inspired to create something that gives back to the world, that makes a difference to someone, somewhere. It can be one person. It can be 1 million people. You have the power to make a difference. That's why you're here. You've been given gifts. One of the things that I value more than anything, and one of the reasons why I feel like I can do this work, is because I value courage. And it takes courage to look at your grief, to work through it, to resolve it, to say, I am not going to let this get me down. I'm sad right now, absolutely, but I am not going to let this grief take over my life. I'm going to give it the space, the time, and the analysis that it deserves. And then I'm going to decide what's next. I'm going to create my new normal, whatever that is. I'm going to move toward the things that I love, that are important to me, that make a difference. And I'm going to let go of all the things that are trivial, that are insignificant, that don't matter. Are you willing to lean in? Are you willing to do the work? Do you have the courage? Grief is real. The struggle is real. But as real as the struggle is, so is the opportunity to overcome it, to learn from it, to work through it, and to become grief inspired. And if you want to be grief inspired the way I've become grief inspired, reach out. Let me know. And let's get started. I have lots of ways that you can work with me. I have a teachable course that's all online. You don't have to talk to anyone. And it gives you things to think about, and it gets you involved in your grief. And it puts you into some action. It moves you forward. That's what it's for. That's what it will do. It will help you grieve faster. I have one-on-one coaching for people who want somebody with them, a mentor, to walk them through grief week after week after week so that you don't have to feel alone. Grief is hard enough. You don't have to do it alone. Send me an email. Call my cell phone that's all over Grief Inspired. I am here to support you. You've got this. Make the choice for yourself. Find out what it is you deserve in this life. And be grief inspired. Don't just grieve. Be grief inspired.